Ever swiped right and felt a chill run down your spine? Online dating promises connection, but sometimes it delivers something far more sinister. Tonight, you'll hear 3 stories that will make you think twice before your next match. Behind the filters, behind the profiles, real danger can lurk. Hello, and welcome to No Sleep Tonight. Before we begin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps this channel grow and keeps these true horror stories coming. Alright, let's dive into 3 unsettling online dating stories you'll never forget. The stalker in the shadows. I met her on a dating app I'd been using for a while. Her profile wasn't anything special, but that's partly why I trusted it. She had a couple of pictures with a dog, one sitting at a cafe table. Nothing over the top, nothing that screamed fake. Her bio was short, a little sarcastic, but funny. We started talking, and for the first few days, everything felt normal. We texted back and forth every evening. She asked about my job, what kind of music I liked. I asked her about her dog. She joked that her cooking could kill someone, and I laughed. It was the kind of casual banter that makes you think, okay, this could actually be something real. After a week of chatting, she suggested we meet up, coffee in the middle of the day, at a small cafe not far from my place. Public, safe. I didn't even hesitate. The day of the date, I was nervous, like you always are before meeting someone new. I got there early, ordered a drink, and sat by the window. When she walked in, I felt a wave of relief. She looked like her pictures, which doesn't always happen. She waved, smiled, and sat across from me. The first 20 minutes were fine, just small talk. She asked about movies, about the worst date I'd ever been on. I cracked a couple of dumb jokes. She laughed. I started to relax. And then she asked me something that didn't make sense. Out of nowhere, she said, "So, is your high school mascot still the Eagles?" I froze. I hadn't told her where I went to high school. I didn't even mention what city I grew up in. It wasn't in my profile, and it hadn't come up in our chats. I forced a laugh and brushed it off, but my mind was racing. Then, a few minutes later, she mentioned my first dog, by name. I hadn't thought about that dog in years, and I definitely hadn't told her about it. My chest started to tighten. I could feel my heartbeat in my ears, and she kept going. She casually brought up where my sister worked. Then, like it was nothing, she said the exact street I used to live on years ago. That's when I realized she knew way too much about me. I tried not to show it, but my hands were shaking under the table. I said I needed to use the bathroom, stood up, and walked as calmly as I could. In the bathroom, I pulled out my phone with trembling hands and texted my roommate, "Get here." Right now, when I came back out, the table was empty. She was gone. My cup was still sitting there, and under it was a folded napkin. On it, written in messy handwriting, were 4 words: "I'll see you at home." I felt the blood drain from my face. I left the cafe immediately and waited outside, pacing on the sidewalk until my roommate pulled up. I couldn't stop checking behind me on the ride home, convinced she was following us. Later, when I told the police what had happened, they weren't surprised. They said she'd probably been combing through years of my old social media, posts, tagged photos, even comments. All the little breadcrumbs you don't think about. She had pieced my life together before we met. I never saw her again. But that night changed me. Now, every time I walk home alone, I check over my shoulder. Every time I unlock my door, I wonder if someone's standing just out of sight. And all it took was one date. The catfish who knew too much. I matched with her on a Tuesday night. Her name was Anna. Her profile looked real. Not too many photos, not over-edited, just a few shots of her smiling. One with friends, one outdoors. She was beautiful, but not in the over-the-top Instagram way that screams fake. She messaged me first, and that caught my attention. She asked what I was doing up so late. From there, it just flowed. For the next couple of weeks, we talked every single day. Morning, night, even during lunch breaks. She was funny, quick-witted, and always seemed interested in what I had to say. She asked me about my life, my family, my childhood. I told her some stories. She told me some of hers, or at least what I thought were hers. It started to feel like more than just chatting. She made me laugh. She checked in when I was having a bad day. She felt real. But every time I tried to set up a meeting, there was an excuse. One week her camera was broken. The next, she said she had to leave town suddenly. Another time, she said her mom was sick. Every time I asked, there was something that got in the way. At first, I ignored it. People are busy. Life happens. But after a while, the excuses piled up, and I started to feel uneasy. Then came the night everything changed. We were chatting like usual when she brought up one of my coworkers, by name. I froze. I had never posted about him. I had never mentioned him to her. There was no way she should know who he was. I brushed it off, tried to tell myself it was coincidence. A few days later, it happened again. She joked about a shirt I wore to a friend's birthday party. But that night, no one had taken photos. I never mentioned it online. The only way she could have known was if she'd been there, watching. My stomach started to twist every time I saw her name pop up on my phone. But the final straw came one night when she described my apartment. She told me about my couch, the desk by the window, the color of my curtains. I had never shown her my apartment, not in a picture, not on a call, nothing. My chest went tight and my hands went cold. That was the moment I realized whoever I'd been talking to wasn't just some catfish with stolen photos. She was close enough to see into my life in ways she never should have been able to. I ran her photos through a reverse image search. My heart sank when I saw the results. They belonged to a model overseas. Every picture I had trusted, every smile, every message, all fake. I confronted her, and within seconds, she blocked me. The account disappeared, but that didn't bring me any relief. If anything, it made it worse, because I couldn't shake the feeling that she was still out there. Not the girl in the pictures, but the person who had been talking to me. Someone who knew where I worked, what I wore, where I lived. I deleted every dating app that night. I locked down my social media, stripped out old photos, turned everything private. And the truth is, I'll never know who she really was. A stranger nearby, someone I'd already met. All I know is this: somewhere out there, someone still knows everything about me. The abductor's trap. I'd been talking to her for about 2 weeks. Her name was Rachel. She seemed normal, friendly, easy to chat with, not pushing for anything too fast. We messaged about music, bad dates, dumb jokes. Nothing about her raised alarms. After a while, she suggested we meet up. Dinner downtown, at a busy restaurant. That sounded fine to me. Public place, lots of people around. It felt safe. The night of the date, I got to the restaurant a little early. I texted her to let her know I was there. A couple of minutes later, she replied, "Hey, My car broke down a few blocks away. Can you come meet me here instead? I stared at the message. Something about it didn't feel right, but I told myself not to overthink. People have car trouble all the time. So I asked where she was, and she sent me an address just a few streets over. I walked down a quieter street until I saw a dark sedan parked by the curb. She was leaning against the driver's side, smiling when she saw me. She looked like her pictures, which put me at ease, at least for a second. I started walking toward her. That's when she opened the back door and said, "Hop in." I know a better place. I slowed down immediately, my gut twisted. Why would we change plans? Why would she want me to get in her car when we were supposed to meet at a restaurant? And then I saw it. Movement in the shadows of the back seat. Another figure. Someone sitting perfectly still. My chest tightened. Everything in me screamed that this was wrong. But I forced a smile and said, "Sure, let me just grab my wallet from my car." I pointed back the way I came and turned around. The second I was out of her line of sight, I ran. I didn't stop until I was back on the main street, surrounded by people and lights. My heart was pounding so hard, I could barely breathe. I texted her after I got home, demanding to know what was going on. No reply. I opened the app. Her profile was gone, deleted. Every message, every photo, wiped like she never existed. I've replayed that night in my head too many times. The empty street, the dark car, the way she smiled when she opened the door, and the shadow of the man sitting in the back seat, waiting. I know one thing for sure. If I had stepped into that car, I wouldn't be here telling this story. Online dating can feel safe. It can feel normal. But stories like these are a reminder that you never really know who's on the other side of the screen. The lesson is simple. Trust your instincts, meet in public, and always have a way out. Because sometimes what looks like the start of something good is the start of a nightmare. If you want more true horror stories like these, make sure you subscribe. There are plenty more to tell. Thanks for watching No Sleep Tonight. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, sleep well.